school and who is a lawyer and also understands the legal system, once actually headed the Ghana School of Law. Kwaku Ansa-Asare is former director of the Ghana School of Law. Sir, you're welcome to Eyewitness News. Hello, sir. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Great. I'm glad you can hear me now. As someone who once was director of the Ghana School of Law, how are you feeling hearing that the Ghana School of Law, as we know it in the current form and shape, may cease to exist, and that there's a plan to introduce a bill, and if that bill is passes and it becomes a law, we would have a new structure in legal education? I'm sure you've heard the Attorney General. What do you make of that proposal?
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for having me. I don't like the use of the word apology, because the law school since 1968, 20th November, when it was set up, has not been established pursuant to any law, so it lacks legality. What was envisaged in 1958 was that the General Legal Council will look for a venue where instruction could be imparted to intending lawyers, and that's how come we have the entity known as the Ghana School of Law. But legally, there's no such institutions in Ghana. We've studied so many times by things that they felt that we have not found a political way, to do the needful. So this is, a good step, that Dominica really has taken. I'm praying and hoping against hope that it will materialize, because oftentimes Attorney General generals over the years have made such political statements, without actually implementing them as such. So if you have the boldness to implement it, so much the better for the nation. Secondly, these days, if you put your ear to the ground, you hear that our numerous students cannot find space at the Ghana School of Law, and therefore they have to go to places like Rwanda, the Gambia, some go to UK, America, and pay huge, foreign sums of money, to the economy there, and thereby building, their economy. So as we continue to wallow in poverty, and therefore, if as an attempt to widen access to justice, each law faculty is licensed to administer the professional law program, which is standards in good stead. My only problem has to do with standards. If care is not taken, some institutions will dilute the quality that we aim for. That is my only problem. If the issue of quality can be addressed now before we are licensed to impart knowledge to intending lawyers, I'll be all for it. I'm merely opening the doors, because we want, accessibility will not, solve our problems. So I'm glad that this is, happening under, Ayune's watch. But I'm also sound a caution that the institutions that are to be licensed must be institutions that have the capacity to train intending lawyers. If that caveat is not put there, we will realize before we produce the first cohort, that we made a mistake.
My question has to do with the faculties. You run one of these faculties. Often the critics say that the faculties are not well resourced and are not proper at training lawyers or producing lawyers, and that is why the General Legal Council has to sieve the products through the entrance exams and the entrance interviews that it does in the past. Now, if the faculties are allowed to run the program fully and also run the professional course, critics of this say it would lead to the production of half-baked lawyers. As someone who owns a faculty, what assurances can you give that if the production of lawyers is left to faculties, or a good job would be done?
I think there's a confusion of thoughts. A law faculty is not necessarily a law school. There's a big difference between a law faculty and a law school. A law faculty teaching the academic program. That is the first phase of the training of an intending lawyer. So at the faculty level, we teach how to and where to find the law, while the professional level, we teach the nuances of professional practice. So the law school actually controls and manages the professional law courses, while the faculties manage the academic phase of legal education. So the two are not the same. Secondly, you may be a holder of a doctorate degree in law, but not necessarily a lawyer. There is a difference between a lawyer and a law graduate. So you have a professor of law who has not been called to the bar and therefore will remain a law graduate. You have a PhD holder in law who has not been called to the bar, therefore is not a lawyer. So there is going to be some amount of discrimination as to who should teach. The law program, when I was director of the law school, I remember in 1992, I invited 10 lawyers, including Kwame Tete, Samuel Kujetu, the top JK Adinani, the late of Samuels, taught company law while I was director of the law school. They were seasoned academicians who have also been called to the bar and were therefore private legal practitioners. So the combined theory and practice, and that is to the benefit of students. Therefore, in licensing an institution to teach a professional law course, care should be taken as to who qualifies in terms of Article 2, that is the Legal Profession Act. And the Legal Profession Act in Section 56 defines who a lawyer is. So you may be a professor of law, but if you don't come within the definition or intendment of a lawyer as provided for in Section 56 of the Legal Profession Act 1962, you may not be able to teach some of the courses. You can teach a course like insurance law. I cannot teach insurance practice because you are not a professional. You can teach land law. You will not be able to teach conveyancing because the two are not the same. You can teach family law. You cannot teach divorce or matrimonial courses. So the differences are very pronounced, and merely passing an act to widen access to legal education is not going to solve the problem. So it's going to give jobs to some of our very, very, very good legal practitioners who are otherwise not teaching. For instance, Ansa-Asare is a very brilliant legal practitioner. I've always wondered why he has not been invited to teach. I used to invite, like Ali Machia, I invited him to teach soon after graduating from the law school because I noticed a promise in him. And today, it's one of the best legal tax experts we have in the country. So when we begin to do things like that, we give the opportunity to aspiring young legal practitioners, to replace it when we are no more. So I will say that the Attorney General should also ensure, and this goes to my friend the Deputy Attorney General, they should ensure that in their bold attempt to reform professional legal education, only professional lawyers who can teach and should be allowed to teach the professional courses. It is not a platform for legal academicians. If you are not a lawyer, you cannot teach a law program. I mean, it's commonsensical. So just like the accountants, if you are not a chartered accountant, you cannot teach someone to charter.
So to summarize, if this law goes through for you, your contemplation is that the faculties should be taught by lawyers, practicing lawyers, and not, for instance, someone who holds a master's.
The professional law courses.
Good. Okay, so that's when you're done with the LLB.
You can hold an LLB and because to the bar, you are a professional lawyer.
What I'm saying is that when they finish the LLB at the faculty and now want to do the professional course, they should be taught only by lawyers,
by professional lawyers,
and maybe judges. I'm sure you.
Well, a judge is a professional lawyer.
I get it. So I mean, just that would be your. But it shouldn't be left for someone who has a master's degree.
You have a PhD, therefore that is no meaningful qualification to teach on the professional law program.
Okay. What about regulation? Do you think the GLC should still be the one regulating these schools because of what the law says?
No, I have my problem with the GLC. I mean, you see, the Legal Council comprises persons, the majority of them are judges. And being a judge, doesn't mean that you can be a legal educator. There must be a difference between a legal educator and a judge.
But they are not educators
of their judicial activities and leave the teaching of law to people who have trained to teach.
But what if they argue? What if they argue that they are regulators and not necessarily teachers, which actually is what they do? They are regulators of the space.
The law that made them regulators, the same law can use to regulate them. That's all.
Very well. Thank you so much. And talking about expansion, before you go, he also talks about expansion, which means physical space. As we speak, the Director of Legal Education is in Kumasi. The Justice of the Court of Appeal, who is Director of the Ghana School of Law, Nana Yaoberi Makodie, he's going to receive